Well, first of all, I do want to say thank you so much for having me here today. This is an extraordinary experience. Normally, I just chop wood, make a mess, and leave, but I want to do more than that today. I want to leave an impact on you because of what God has done for me. How did I get started? Well, my parents own Childsford Tree Service. You may see that I've got their logo I'm representing as I travel all over the world. I wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. I'm a very competitive young woman, and growing up in a family of 4 kids, I wouldn't say that we were always fighting over food, but we fought over everything else. And if I could be faster, stronger, better, that just helped me in every other area. I just wanted to win. Didn't matter what it was, but win fairly. Win fairly. No cheating allowed. So growing up with an arborist father and a mother who was involved in the business, taking care of trees, it was only natural that I would pick up an axe and a chainsaw and follow in my dad's footsteps. He attended the Penn State University, and he was on the woodsman's team there. And when I grew up, seeing videos, pictures of my dad competing, I thought, that is so cool. Dad is my hero, and I wanted to honor him by following in his footsteps, but also doing it better. I'm just a little bit competitive, right? So when
was your dad ever a world champion?
No, but he will tell you he's a world champion dad. And he was a tri-state champion, so he was pretty good. And he likes to try to come out when I'm training and make sure I'm doing it right, because he said, I was so accurate back in the day. I was so good, I never missed a hit. See, you missed a hit there, and I'll show you how to do it. And I tell him, all right, Dad, put on your chainmail and let's go, let's have a race. And then he says, I've got an estimate. I have to go look at some trees. But all that to say, I got involved in wood chopping, following in my dad's footsteps, attending the Pennsylvania State University. And walking onto the team just felt like such a natural thing. I was a field hockey player, played basketball, played softball, so I already had some of that discipline, a lot of that team sport aspect, but here was an opportunity to shine as an individual. And I just picked up an axe, felt so natural, and the doors of opportunity continued to open. The harder I worked, people say the harder you work, the luckier you get, but the harder I worked, the more I tried to stay in tune with what God had for me, following his leading, the more doors of opportunity opened. So I've competed, like I said, all over the world.
And you had told me the other day you went from Penn State to Germany?
Yes, after graduating from Penn State with a degree in animal sciences and minors in wildlife and fisheries and forest science, I thought, I want to try out what I learned. I want to see what I can do in the world of agriculture in Germany on a pig farm. So I moved to Germany for a year and worked on a beautiful, quaint, but very stinky pig farm. And I got to raise piglets from birth all the way up to market weight. And we fed the small village where we were from and lots of areas beyond. It was a very satisfying, very fulfilling life, but still you want more. And I was a little bit homesick, I suppose, and in order to combat any potential homesickness, I surrounded myself with some familiar things, and that included wood chopping. So at that point in time, I had been out of college for, I guess, a summer, so half a year, and I hadn't been competing for over a year. I had finished out my season as MVP. I had enjoyed pretty much everything that the sport had to offer, or so I thought. I thought it was collegiate and that's it. But when I moved to Germany, it turns out there were competitors who were professionals, and not only were there male professionals, lumberjacks, but there were also lumberjills. And I thought, oh my goodness, there is potential here for a career. And naturally, my mom said, ooh, I don't want you to do that. It's dangerous, you had your fun, but you're a young woman, it's a male-dominated sport. I want to see you doing something a little bit more feminine, something more traditional. But everywhere I turned, with every opportunity, I just felt God leading me, and he had given me these unique gifts. And it seems strange, okay, wood chopping, what's so special about wood chopping? But the people that I've been able to meet as a result of my skill and the platform that I have, I've been able to share the love of God with so many people who maybe otherwise would not have heard it. And it's all because I started out swinging an axe in college.
So you started competing in Germany. When did you start, actually starting to rack up some of this bling and all that? What was that like?
Oh, my goodness. Well, just watching that video, man, brings back all the memories, all the excitement, the nervousness of being on stage. I started competing professionally in 2013, so I've been competing as a professional for just over 10 years, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Wow.
But there's good longevity in the sport. I'm actually headed to Australia tomorrow to compete, and I will be competing against a field of competitors who range in age from, I think, 20 to 71.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, pretty cool. When I came home from Germany after my year abroad, again, the hand of God in all this, I was supposed to be competing with someone coming over from Germany. We were going to be partnered up for some of the team events, and he was in an accident. He's okay now, he's fully recovered, but because of that, it changed my approach to the season. It changed all my plans, but it put me right in the path of a professional who'd been competing for 25 years, and he's considered the ultimate technician of the sport. We call him Yoda, because he just has this gentle, peaceful way of getting the response that he needs out of his trainees. So Mike Esch has been training me up. He started training me in 2014, and I started to win championships in 2015.
Wow.
And after my first championship win in New York, I was selected to compete on the national Lumberjill relay team headed to Sydney, Australia. They have the biggest relay race in the world, and to be a part of that team, that was just a dream come true. And enormous pressure as well, I must say.
Was that the one where your team started off kind of slow? Were you telling me?
So
I'm going to force her to brag if she's not going to do it voluntarily.
Well, they call me the anchor chopper. I should probably give you guys a little bit more background. So if you guys aren't really familiar with lumberjack sports or lumberjacks, even what a lumberjack is, how many people know who Paul Bunyan is? All right, so that's pretty good, pretty good. So I'm just the female version minus a blue ox. Chopping, sawing wood, everything is based on the traditional practices of forestry. And it's all based on speed and time. So it doesn't matter if I step off this block 5 times, if I chop it faster than anyone else, I win. So the wood that we chop here is very different from the wood that we chop in other countries. So learning to adjust to the wood, to different gear down in Australia, we as a team from the United States were at a little bit of a disadvantage. We were competing against, of course, Australia and also Team New Zealand. And it's a team of 7. So there's a chopper who starts out, and you guys saw me chopping in the video. So an underhand cutter. Then there's a team of 2 ladies on a saw, a crosscut saw, running back and forth, cutting down through the wood. Once I complete my chop, then they get to saw. Once they finish sawing, the next sawyer goes, the single buck sawyer. I'll demonstrate the single buck later, and so will Pastor Matthew. I'm excited for that. And then another team of sawyers, and then the final underhand cutter, who is considered the anchor. Normally you put a good cutter first to try to get ahead, because the team feeds off of that excitement, right? You're ahead, you're leading the race, and normally that builds. You really don't want to start out in a deficit. But they put me at the end because we were pretty strong as a team of choppers, Aaron and I. And yeah, we had a few bobbles, a few missteps throughout the race. But I don't know, I just had a sense of peace and excitement and passion for what I was doing. You can't compete with a spirit of fear. You can't do anything out of fear, out of anger. There's too much tension. You just have to let things flow. And when you let God kind of speak over you and you settle into the promise that he has for you, that's when you can really run your best race. So I just thought, I'm out here doing what I love. I have this awesome privilege. God has blessed me so much. I'm just going to give it all out here for my team. And we pulled ahead. Even though I started dead last chopper, we ended up with the win. We won 2 out of the 3 races and secured gold for Team USA.
When we were talking the other day, you talked about some of the challenges over the, you've been doing this for so many years now, and having seasons of where do you find your identity and what that journey has been for you?
So I've been really fortunate to have some really great sponsors over the years, and some articles that have been written about me or have been on social media have gathered the attention of some pretty big companies. So I got to be involved in a commercial that was played on HGTV from Armstrong Flooring. And I tell you what, when they have you set up with an RV, all the snacks that you want, I love snacks. They asked me, what do you like? We'll have everything there. I had all the Cheetos I wanted, all the chocolate milk. Everybody was fussing over me, hair, makeup, not a detail out of place. The risk of having a big head and thinking, wow, I'm so great, is kind of overwhelming. And then you want to keep pursuing the attention, the success. And it wasn't very long after, I'd been on TV, I'd won a bunch of championships. There's pretty good money when you win. I started to think, wow, everybody recognizes me as the Lumberjill, the world champion Lumberjill. So I've got to perform. I've got to live up to that name. It's all about me, me, me. How can I? And it's all about advancing myself. And really, this is a gift from God, and if I'm not using it for Him, what is the use? So I had a humbling moment. After winning 2 national championships in a row, I went out ready to take the 3rd, and I was just so focused on the end result and getting what I wanted, even though I thought, God, I'm glorifying you with my gifts here. There was still that, I've got to perform, got to feed the ego a little bit. And when I went out on stage, I competed with a fear that I'd never felt before. And I felt very, very lost, very out of place. And normally when I step on stage, man, I'm in my element. I feel like a monster up there. I don't look like a monster, but I feel like, I'm one of the big names in the sport. This is me. And I felt so deflated that day. And I fought hard, I competed well, but I ended up taking 2nd place. And I thought, what the heck, why am I getting punished? I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. And then I realized God was trying to get my attention because I was placing my focus, my happiness in my performance and not in being His child, right? When we lose sight of who we are as a son or a daughter of God, everything is it's like riding a roller coaster. Your happiness is up and down, but if you place your joy in being His child and His unfailing love, you will have such a buoyancy, and He will carry you through anything. It doesn't matter the mistakes that you've made. Nothing will disqualify you from His love and for the plan that He has for you. You may see some detours or some roadblocks as a result of some poor choices, but His love is always there, and if you just keep turning to Him, He will restore you. And so through that season of loss, I had to take a step back and say, God, it really is about you. I've lost the joy in doing this. You need to have a greater purpose. And I want my greater purpose to be to serve Him and to share His love, because without the blessings that He's given me, I can do nothing.
Amen.
So.
I thought it was cool when we were talking about this weekend and our theme of go, go and do likewise, go and sin no more, go and make disciples, and you saw some immediate connections to what you do. You were talking about toolbox and foundations, and
Yep.
you want to share some of the things that you were sharing with me?
So all of this sport requires a solid foundation. And when I'm talking about foundation, I mean your legs. You got to be grounded to the earth. And a lot of the time I have that problem. I use a lot of upper body strength, but then I miss out on the combination of core and the power that's in the legs. If we're focused on the light and fluffy stuff over here and not really standing on the goodness of God and His Word, letting that build you up and be your true source of strength, you're not really tapping into the full potential. So for me, going away, I can't take any of this gear that's up here on stage, at least going to Australia. The wood is different. If I take this gear, it would break instantly. So you have to know what your battle is. You have to know what you're going to be facing out there. Don't fib to yourself and say, I've got a good foundation. I'm technically solid. It'll be fine. If you don't have the proper tools in the toolbox, if you don't know the enemy you're facing, it'll beat you every time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about this weekend, right? In our discussion, our messages, what kind of tools do we need to have in our toolbox to go and do likewise, to go and sin no more, to go and make disciples, which we're going to talk about this afternoon. But it directly translates to faith in so many ways. You had shared some other thoughts too about, I noted it down somewhere, some of the challenges and what's been challenging for you and challenging for how we pursue faith. I don't know if I'm phrasing it right. I wrote myself a bullet point and then I forgot exactly what I meant by it.
Can you read your handwriting?
What? Yeah, it's questionable.
It's upside down.
Well, some of it.
Okay. Are you talking about in terms of dealing with other people when you're out and about? Competing, meeting the same faces on stage, some of whom might not be the friendliest or...
Yeah, I was curious about that. Thank you for reminding me what my question was. Yeah, because these guys that go to school with the same people, you're competing in a very specialized sport. You face some of the same people. What is it like maintaining a reputation, pursuing God, but also being competitive in the sport and interacting with people and some of the challenges there?
You know, I'm learning that I need to be more bold in my faith. I listened to a sermon that Pastor Nate gave last year. He was talking about getting off of the floaty and getting on the surfboard. And I thought, man, he put pictures up and everything. I thought, dude, that floaty looks so comfortable. I can have my drink, I can have my snacks, sunbathe. I work so hard doing tree work all the time. Why would I get off of that? I just want to chill. And the surfboard, you need balance, you need strength, you need to be totally focused all the time. I don't want that. But then I thought, when have I ever accomplished anything of any significance from a position of comfort? You have to push yourself. You have to step out of your comfort zone. If God is calling you, He is faithful. He will see you through. So be brave. Step out. I've used this analogy before with my sister. She's been going through some things, not really sure what to do next. And I said, look, Han, you get into the car, you plug in your address of where you want to go. Is the GPS going to tell you exactly where to go while you're sitting there? No. You have to start driving. And as you move forward in faith, trusting that the next step will be revealed to you, you find yourself moving along in your journey and you get to your destination and all is well. So I just thought, man, I need to do more. Yes, I'm chopping, I'm setting records. Yeah, I'm name-dropping God here and there a little bit, Bible verses where I can insert them where it fits. I want to be winsome. I don't want to push any of my friends away, but how can I hold this a secret, the gospel, when we are called to go and to share? So it was really funny. After Pastor Nate gave that sermon, the next day I received a phone call from a friend asking if maybe I'd want to go on a missions trip to Cuba. And I've never, ever been on a missions trip before. Sure, I've traveled all over the world, but to Cuba? Ooh. A lot of people said, you might never come back. Like, you could die. Don't go. And I thought, well, I really hope that that's not God's plan for me, but I think that I need to do this. And while I learned on that trip, it was an awesome trip to see the hand of God work. And when I felt like I had nothing to give, I didn't know what to say, here I am coming from the United States. I'm not super wealthy by any means, but my wealth compared to theirs, I mean, it's astronomical. They live in little dirt floor huts. They might get 3 pieces of bread a week. Eggs, I think 1 egg is a couple dollars. And they're making, as professionals, maybe $35 a month. And the folks who don't have a professional gig, they are barely scraping by, but they are joyful people. But they still need to hear the word of God. And I thought, how can I impact them? Because my life is really good and really easy compared to theirs. And to see God step in and give us the right words to say and open hearts, it was just further confirmation to me that if you go, he will show up. So that's what I'm going to work on a little bit more this year, is exercising forgiveness even when I don't want to, because there are some tough characters out there. And it really is a sport that is male-dominated. It is very, very secular. And so I'm surrounded by a lot of, I guess, sin. That's really the only way to phrase it. And while I have been raised well and I have my standards, garbage in, garbage out. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. You surround yourself with good things should be coming out. Now, I think that I'm strong enough, but you're still a sponge. Yeah. And what you hear has a way of embedding itself, and you have to always have your defenses up, because once you let your guard down, the devil gets a foothold. I would say that the Australians are very well known for being very free with their language. And it bothered me for a long time, but then after a while I got used to it. And then I started to think, well, maybe it's not so bad. I'll season my conversation with a few words. Not trying to be cool, but just, I don't know, it seemed normal. But then once I started to do that, it was just like a wildfire. And it can so take over your spirit and just defeat you. And I just want to caution you to really guard your hearts against what you are listening to, what you're watching, what you're reading, because it really is garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There is life and death in the power of the tongue. And what you speak over yourselves, that even has a very, very profound impact. I will say there have been competitions where I've said, look, I'm not prepared. I feel terrible. And then I realized I've got a defeatist attitude. I can't go out there like that. As a child of God, I already have the victory, whatever it may be. His plan is always good. Even if I don't come home with the blue ribbon, with the big money prize, his plans are always the best. And I started speaking more positive things over myself, over my life, thanking God for the opportunities that I've had. And really, gratitude is the breeding ground of joy. And when you change your perspective, I think it just opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. So I have to say that even though there have been competitions that I've lost that were kind of devastating, you get over it. It's not the end of the world, and I have seen the goodness of God through that. He didn't give that to me then because I wasn't ready. And then, when I was ready, the blessings were even greater than I could have imagined.
Awesome. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I think it's time. I think we should play with some of these power tools and stuff up here for a few moments, but okay. You were going to demonstrate some of the competitions for us and talk us through it a little bit, yes. And then we'll take a few minutes after that for questions.
Yes, that sounds great. Is everybody up for that? You guys bring your earplugs.
Where are my goggle handles? Melissa, Matt, can you guys, we got a little bit of a chip zone going on here with the first couple rows. So we're going to give you guys some protective eyewear to use and then throw back in the bin after. Here's Melissa. Is Matt around? Matt, can you help pass these out the first 2 rows? But right. Give me one. I would like one. Melissa, please.
did I put that? Oh. So before I get started, I want to talk a little bit about safety. We take safety very seriously. And it's kind of like putting on the full armor of God. You wouldn't go out there ill-prepared to fight the devil, and just like that, I'm not going to swing an axe right at my toes without some sort of protection on. So even though I've got a good technique, I think it's not good to be too cocky and to trust solely on one's own ability.
So are chainmail socks comfortable, or?
They're actually all right. So if it's really, really cold, you'll know that you're wearing them because your feet are frozen. They might not be the most fashionable thing, but I can have them on. I can have them on for an all-day competition and forget that I'm even wearing them. They're quite nice. If you want, I brought you a pair to try on. They're not as comfortable as these, though. These are like the pro version. Those are the intermediate.
Where the
Those are the
axes are
intermediate.
not going near my toes. It's the. You want me to take the mic, or?
Sure. So I think I'm going to start with the chainsaw event. So when we compete for steel, the competition is comprised of 4 events. The stock saw, making 2 cuts on 16 inches of wood. Then the standing block, which unfortunately I couldn't bring because I think we were a little short on space. And I'm short on time. But that's a chopping event. And then the single buck, which Pastor Matthew and I will demonstrate, and then the underhand. So as you complete these events throughout the course of the day, you earn points based on how you place, how you finish. And whoever has the most points at the end of the competition is the all-around winner. So, yeah, we'll just do kind of a nice gentle run-through. Just
gentle. Nothing like this has happened in this room before.
No, I'm really excited. I've never operated a chainsaw in a church before. So thank you very much. I will try to keep sawdust out of the baptismal.
Yeah, all right. She was just mentioning she's got to get her earplugs in, and then they wear chaps to protect their legs from the chainsaw. Now I'm like tempted to ask, when has this gone wrong that they knew they needed to have chaps? I have to wear some? I get to. Okay. I know. This is okay. Am I blocking your view? She didn't ask how many people want to operate a chainsaw. How many people have operated a chainsaw? Oh, okay. No, we didn't put that in the release form. They didn't say they did it well. You want to say that again?
In steel timber sports, we get a hot start. So it means the chainsaw is already running. There are other events where you have a cold start, where you have to start the machine and then make your cuts. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward. It's just a stock chainsaw, 661. And because I'm sponsored by Steel, I have to say it is the best chainsaw in the world.
I'm like trying to find the safe spot to be able to see and... What's the countdown?
In competition, they say, stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go. So I don't know if you guys want to do that for me.
3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Jackson, come here. Never mind. All right, we'll all do it together. 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you, thank you. What we look for in competition is 2 complete discs. Now, the thinner they are, the faster the saw will cut, because there's less, I guess, pressure or tension on the bar. But you cut too thin, you don't get a complete disc, and you're out. And those are costly points.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you get a full cut.
And what do you call those?
We call these cookies. These, you don't eat them, but you can set them out in the garden. A lot of people love these, so we'll be frisbeeing these later.
Yeah, she brought some extra cookies as well.
How did I do with the mess? Are we okay? Mostly contained?
Pretty good. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. The facilities staff, I forgot to mention to them that we were going to do this.
No way.
When you're a youth pastor, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
And
they found out yesterday and were like, "You're doing what?" And I was like, "No, it'll be fine."
It's fine. It's fine. I'm a trained professional. But I'm not very good at cleaning up my messes. Just ask my dad. All right, so I guess we'll do the single buck next. So these saws are made in Masterton, New Zealand, or Canada. There is at least a 3-year waiting list for these saws. Even though they only take about 40 to 60 hours to make, they are hand-filed. Every tooth is hand-sharpened down to, I think, the 10,000th. So it's very, very, it has to be super precise. It really does. It is an art and a science. So these saws are pretty expensive. There's a long waiting list. You hit a knot that you don't see in the block, your saw is wrecked, and it's a very, very sad day.
I feel so much more pressure now that I'm going to touch one of them. You should have said that after I embarrassed myself. And you said when you go to Australia, you'll have these types of tools waiting for you there when you get there?
That's right. But it's my own gear.
It's your gear that you've shipped there, or?
That I've purchased and it lives.
Okay. It's her gear that she's purchased and it lives in Australia. She heads there all the time.
Thank you. For safety's sake, we always get a starter cut here in the United States when we compete, so we'll probably put in about a 10-inch starter cut. That means that it's a fair start for everybody, and it's safer, so the saw won't fall off the log. In Australia, you have to start straight off the top, and it's really, truly the best sawyers who win, because you have to have perfect control as you get started.
Was anybody reacting to that noise? It was not working for you?
And with anything, consistency
I forgot my job.
I'm sorry. Consistency is key. So once you find out the best setup for your saw, do it the same way every time, and generally it will all go very well. Now, granted, I need a good foundation. This might be slippery, we'll find out. But if I can use that as a cop-out, you can too.
Yeah, that'll be why. I'm not used to doing this on tile. Oh, she's still getting set. Now we're gonna. All right, 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, I'm right-handed.
Would you like to put the checks on? I'll fix that up.
Sure. These may or may not. I mean, are these yours normally? I don't know if it's going to work. Now, I have confidence. I won't cut myself. I'll say it more confidently now. I won't cut myself much. Just keep my leg away from the saw.
Did you want to run it upside down?
What do you mean?
So I'm going to put it upside down for you. So we can get you into a good position.
Okay.
And we'll go over some of the basics.
I'm so excited. This is my moment to defeat a world champion.
So I'm going to make it really hard for him, and he's going to use the other side. All right. So I stand about 16 inches away from the widest part of the log. And because you are much taller than I am, your stance will be even more spread out than mine. But even if you just...
Calm down, Donna.
Even if you just lean in, I want to see that you can reach to the wood. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So we'll get this out of the way of your foot. I'll move this. All right.
See, really, this is to help look Martha look better, right? Because this is what a real world person...
But you're not a normal person.
That's true.
All right, so because you're a righty, left hand goes on the top, right hand goes on the bottom, and you want them as close together because that gives you more control. You want to be, let's see. Okay, so your front foot.
I haven't even done anything yet, and people are laughing. I find that discouraging.
Your front foot is good. I think we'll give you a little bit more space back here.
I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't know if I can do splits here.
Okay, then find for now what's comfortable for you, and just run the saw back and forth.
Look at that technique. You know what I'm saying?
It's all arms and back and forth. You want rotation. You want rotation.
Oh, so I should not have been moving my hips.
You want to rotate them in.
I'm rotating.
Yeah. Not bad, not bad. So, your power zone is upper chest to belly button. And that's really where you want to be
I've been
sawing,
telling
just
people
right
that for
across the
years.
chest. Have you?
Okay.
So that's where you want to be. And that means probably getting down and really engaging those legs, being connected to the ground. Remember, firm foundation. If you don't have a firm foundation, you won't do well. And that's what I think is so cool about this sport, is there's so much that relates to real life. Gotta have that firm foundation. Are you ready? Are you scared?
I mean, this is about as ready as I'm gonna be.
I will tell you, the saw is pretty sharp. It wants to cut.
It wants to cut.
It wants to cut, so you pretty much just have to let it. It's just pull it gently back and forth. Feel each and every tooth cut. This is what all the masters will tell you. And they'll also tell you, because it's so expensive, you want to use every single tooth. Because you paid for it.
No pressure.
I paid for it.
Every single tooth. I was gonna start doing stuff, and it didn't seem like a good idea. I didn't know it was gonna go this way when we invited you to be a part of this. Am I actually standing the way I was before? I don't remember. I think so. Oh, for crying out loud. Nice and level. I'm just trying to keep it moving.
Keep it level. The more you rock it, the more it'll just kind of bury itself. There you go. Nice. Don't think about cutting the wood in front of you. Think about cutting the wood on the far side. There you go. Now watch what you're doing. There you go. Look at that. He's a natural. He's a natural. Look at him go. And remember to breathe. Keep breathing.
What did I do?
There you go. What we like to say is, if the saw gets stuck, change direction. Now you're changing the angle, not the direction. Nice and level.
Am I?
Come on.
Is this
breathe,
where the knot was?
breathe. Lift it up a little bit. You're almost there. You're almost there. You got it. Come on, almost there. Let's go. Yay. Well done. Well done.
I'll take second place to a world champion.
Unless we have anybody else who wants to try, then you'll be third. No, that was a really good effort, because it's not easy. It's not easy.
It was a good effort.
I'm glad that you didn't quit. All right.
All right, now for the intense one. Oh yeah, I probably wasn't supposed to just drop your super expensive saw. It's only $4,000. Now, for context, the next one that she's going to do is her favorite or her best. Okay. That's becoming her fastest time. Earlier this year, I got to go see a demo where the Penn State college team was doing something. I like winded myself. And
Yes.
I watched the Penn State college team do what you're about to do. It took 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And those were trained competitors.
Trained competitors, yes.
So it's probably going to take you 2, 3 minutes.
Maybe 5. My back's been so sore. But not from wood chopping, from doing tree work. No, hey, a good time on that log, if I were mid-season, would probably be upper 20 seconds.
Wow.
But I'm gonna take it easy because my body isn't fully warmed up, race ready to go. Fastest time in the single buck is 12.4 seconds.
I think I was pretty close.
With a maybe another one in front of
You
it.
need to shut your mouth if you think you're coming home with me. A minute 15. My son,
But at
so
least,
supportive.
but you didn't DQ, so you're ahead of everybody else.
I didn't
You
disqualify.
finished it. That's right. That's right.
All right.
So I wear my little chainmail socks for this event. Let's see. I think we're pretty much ready. Maybe just let me know if I start to scoot too close to the stairs.
Yep.
Because normally I'm secured to the ground.
I'll yell,
Okay, thank you.
probably.
Like, oh no, look out, or is that what you're doing?
Be like, stop recording. Are you putting chalk on that? Oh, to like keep it dry for your grip, or? Huh? Okay. And these are specially made axes from New Zealand as well?
Yes, they are.
Huh? How much does it weigh?
This axe is probably just under 6 pounds. I've weighed most of my gear to make it super consistent. So they're probably about 5.8 pounds.
Huh?
This one, or if I want to, I've got a lot of options. Should look in the toolbox. See,
yes.
when we prepare to compete, we cut what we call footholds, which is what I will stand on over here. And when we do that, we test our good axes, and we listen for how the edge sounds in the wood. If it's poppy, and to feel if it's really free. If it kind of pops, you know it's a good edge for that wood. If it sounds kind of dead, this one kind of sounded dead, probably not the best choice. The cool thing is you can use as many different axes as you want, but it all costs time. Some people will switch out when they turn, but if it's a really, really close race, you just gotta run with what you got. Oh, I've broken some in races before, and I didn't have a spare. That cost me the win, because I had to run and get one, ran back, and lost by half a hit.
Wow.
So be prepared, always. So should I use this one, or should I use something else?
I hope you're not asking me for
You're
advice.
practically a professional.
Practically
You
a
just
professional.
made a cut. The single box. Stop. Here, see what we have in here.
You've named all your axes?
I have, because you have to be able to tell these axes apart. Look, they're very, very similar, because I run the same patterns. I run a pattern 2 and I run a pattern 38. And they do look a lot alike, but they all respond to the wood differently. So you need to know what each one is capable of. And every year before I start competing, I will test all of my axes to find out which one's the number one, or which ones don't even qualify. And those maybe I'll sell or use for training. I will say when I train, if I were to train with junk, I would train bad habits, because you have to force things to cut. And so you're adjusting what your natural style should be to make those things happen. But if you train with the right equipment from the start, you minimize the risk of any bad habits, and that will help you just extraordinarily when you compete in the big races, because you want everything to be as similar in training to what you're going to be doing in the real life scenario. That way there's never any question. You know that it works. This one's a little bit different. Looks right, huh? This axe I didn't name, but it's chalk for chocolate, because it's a banana style axe, and my friend said, oh, chocolate banana split. So it's chocolate.
That makes sense.
He's a food motivated individual. But, yeah. All right, I guess we'll run this one. So I'm going to start away so that I can finish facing you guys in case the axe were to be released.
They're all like, like New Fear Unlocked. Put on the glasses. Up. 3, 2, 1, go. No, she's okay. Not yet. Yeah, she already chopped it.
I did tell him I could bring another piece of wood, but...
I wanted there to be time for you guys to ask questions.
That's right. He's very selfless.
We only have a few minutes. Does somebody have a question? Does somebody just raise your hand and we'll point to somebody. In the yellow, yell real loud. That's not even a... You would
Yes,
like a
you may.
wood chip.
And I can make more.
All right, let's get a real question about the sport. Whoa. Everybody go away. You can't come on the stage. Don't come on the stage.
Like
You're gonna miss
ravenous
the
animals.
stage. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, in the purple. Shh. Real loud.
You may, yes.
So
I'll
after
be
this
here.
session, Martha's gonna hang out by the Renew backdrop back there, so you guys can, we're gonna have lunch, but if you wanna stop and meet her first, we've got some posters out there you can grab and meet her. But yeah, you'll have an opportunity. Actual question.
He's in charge. So how do they maintain the consistency of the wood? For all the big competitions, everything is lathe turned down to the specific diameter for each event. And for every championship, whether it's like a qualifier, a heat, whatever it is, those 8 blocks are all matched from the same tree. There will still be some variation, but for the most part, it is as consistent as you can get from the butt of the log to the head versus mixing trees.
Sure. Real loud.
What is the name? All the axes.
Oh my goodness. So I probably have in excess of 30 axes, so I can't really rattle them off in the box. So I've got Domino, I've got Favor, I've got Little Rock, Nymeria, Dolores, and Chalk.
Dolores.
Dolores, yeah.
Over here in the black and red hoodie.
Oh, my sharpest axe. You know what? I think I left that one at home. But it's one that I set, well, I cut a 24-second chop with it.
Wow.
And it looks a lot like Domino right here. Domino's really good. I've won some big championships with Domino. Razor sharp. We could give
I'm
Pastor
staying over
Matthew
here.
a haircut.
In the gray with your hand up.
That's a good question. My worst injury, I would have to say God's been really good because I've really only emerged with a few nicks and scrapes if I've been a little bit careless, grabbing an axe to pick it up, just a little slice to the finger. I mean, it makes a funny sound when it cuts into your skin. I don't like it. I honestly can't think of any really serious injuries other than the occasional back pain from just not warming up enough. But I have seen people chop their toes off.
Oh gosh. Over here? What?
Wood cookies? Wood cookies will be available later.
We have a way we can do a drawing for some of them.
That's a good idea.
I
Let's
wasn't
do a
sure how much
drawing.
So actual questions back there in the hat.
Okay. Do I sharpen my own axes? Yes, sometimes I do. It is quite an art, so I do leave that up to my coach because he is just a guru when it comes to sharpening, but I'm watching and learning as much as I can, and sometimes when I break an axe, if it's really bad, he says, "All right, King, you're on the grinder, get to work, I'm not doing that," and then he'll walk me through it. So he is very good to teach me, but if I'm going to be competing for a really high-stakes event, I want him to do it.
All right, I think we have time for 2 more, and then you'll be out there. People can
Yes.
ask you when they meet you, but
Okay.
in the black and white there, yeah, with your hand up.
Oh, so when you're splitting wood, you want it to be dry, but when you're chopping wood, you're cutting across the grain, you want it to be wet. Like the fresher it is, the better it'll cut.
Let me pick. Over here. I haven't picked many people from over this side.
I would definitely say the axe events are my favorite. There's just so much precision and timing and balance required for all of that, for everything to go really, really well. Like when I'm chopping flawlessly, that is one of the best feelings in the world. So I would have to say definitely the underhand chop, axes, and standing block. Those are the best.